to another episode of Roses Are Red podcast with your host, Mrs. Red Rose, her co-host, Sam I Am from the Married Couple Podcast, and AC from Midnight Media.
Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Roses Are Red podcast. And I got to say, I really love that picture you did, AC. For us.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Our new logo type deal?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
could be anything. Yeah. I think I'm listening to absorbing Mamabear talk. I'm gonna add the AI one of us three.
Oh yeah.
If it's not up there,
Yeah.
because that's got to be shown. That thing is too cool. Took me
Yeah, it is.
way too many times to do that.
I know.
Actually, is it this one right?
Yes.
Oh, what? I used to have a beard, Mamabear.
Just like
It's a
that
big
one.
one. It was really big. It was like handlebar-y and
It was.
Why'd you shave it?
why did I shave it? My big new corporate job. And I think that would, it's pretty much my own business, so I can do whatever I want, but, for clients, and it's an old school profession where you have to kind of look the part, I'll play the game. I'll play the game. No worries. I've played so many games.
Right.
I
But
like
you look
playing
very
games.
dapper now, though, I have to say. I mean, I like you looking both ways, but you look very dapper.
I don't go both ways.
You
That's
know
what
what I
it
mean?
was.
Full ass
both ways
beard
here.
or or almost, like with the way you look
Subtly?
now. Yes, it looks very dapper. I like it.
Thank you very much. It's really nice of you to say that. Rose, you want to say something nice?
I love it.
This way or the beard way?
I like both. You know what? I like this way. I like the other one, but I actually love this one.
Yeah.
What a
I think you look
diplomatic answer.
this one.
You
This
have
one
such
makes
a nice
you look.
smile.
Yeah.
You do.
Mama Bear, you want to say something nice?
I like your
No.
background.
Thank you. That's better than this. This is whatever. But that's where it's at.
So we have a special guest named Mama Bear on today to tell us a story that has left me really at the edge of my seat throughout this whole thing. I've been as following her since she actually came out with this story on TikTok. She's on TikTok for everybody who is on coming in to listen. Go ahead and hit a like and a follow over there on her TikTok there. Let me tell you, from the day one that she started this story, I've been like, okay, what's next? What's next?
It was
So-
a heck of a listen. And you
Yeah,
actually do
yeah.
a really, really good job of breaking everything down. May I say you're better than Risa Tisa?
I agree.
You know what? I agree. Do you know
That
who
was-
Risa
Everyone
Tisa
was
is?
comparing me to her.
Well, because she was the one that brought the playlist to the forefront. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like you have a better delivery, plus
The cliffhangers, like you
you are-
said. Yeah.
you articulate it a little better, and
Yeah.
you don't, she did a good job of pacing, but you did a really, really good job.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
I
like every night
tried.
I'm like, and when you would post it, I had to watch until the evening time because that was my downtime that, everybody goes to sleep. I could listen, enjoy it, not like be half and half like that minute that you have, And I was like, man, I got to wait until tomorrow afternoon, really?
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger. For
Very
real.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Well, and
So,
that's kind
um,
of the way you get people in. I mean, when we were first learning how to live cast and podcast and all, somebody had said to my husband and I do a show on Wednesday nights, but somebody had said, you have to, have something at the beginning, but tease something towards the end, and you do a really great job of that. So good job.
You really do. I got it.
People think
Hanging
I'm
on.
monotone because I would have to record and re-record and delete a bunch of stuff a bunch of times. And they're like, you're so monotone. I'm like, well, if you would sit there and record it for an hour at a time like I did, you'd sound monotone after a while too.
Well, and it happens especially if you're speaking to a screen rather than, we have the luxury of having all of us on here and be able to converse, and you are like, let me tell you how it is. And it would be hard not to, but I don't think you're too monotone at all. I think you tell it very
No.
well.
You really
I
do.
do too. You really do. Because I'm telling you, I was like, give me some more. I want more. I want more.
Hey, before we get into the story, I wanted to quickly hit upon something, just because I'm not too proud to say it. I'm in therapy for things that have happened, right? To me lately, that have been quite traumatic. But it's made me re-examine relationships and As I do a podcast with women mainly, I feel like it has to be said. If you're married to someone and you're a man, you have to reevaluate what you do for that woman. You really do. You have to. This has nothing to do with you, with your story, Mama Bear, but it's something that's been like weighing on my mind. Things that I've been learning. You have to be every bit of man, because if a woman can't rely on you, if a woman can't know that you're her rock and know that you could be trying and failing, but the worst thing is not to try, right?
Mm-hmm.
And lately, I've just been hearing these stories that are just like horrific about, men manipulating women, leeching on, having an anchor baby and thinking that they have complete control over everything that they do. And that's just not the case. So I implore men, from anybody who sees this, nothing to do with Mama Bear's story. Anybody who sees this is completely separate. Reevaluate what you do for your wife, your girlfriend, anybody you're with, because I don't think it's enough, fellas. You know what I mean? We need to make sure that we're doing enough. I'm not saying bend over backwards, but I'm saying, what do you bring to the table? Sometimes we get a little bit too comfortable. Men don't have the luxury of being comfortable. We have to worry. If we lose it all, we lose our families, right? So I know women are just neck and neck, and everything's 50-50, but men have an added responsibility of protection. And that's, you don't get to protect the family if you don't produce. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys, before we get into the story, have you guys ever been with anybody who didn't really pull their own weight?
Yeah.
How did you handle that?
I'm not
That's
with
why
them
he's an
anymore.
ex. Yeah, that's why he's an ex
Yes.
husband.
Well, of course they're
Um,
exes, yeah, because they showed you enough to not continue. But how did you navigate it? When did you realize it?
I mean, for me, one that in one of my one of my previous marriages, I continually said, I need this from you. I need you to be more empathetic. I need you to be this. This is what, this is what I feel that I need from you that I'm not getting. And after continually saying, this is what I need, and then coming back to me saying, I'm sorry, they were disregarded how I felt. I'm trying to articulate this in the best way I can.
I'm trying to stay calm for you,
right?
Because I'm the person that wants to come and save you. Right. I'm the person that wants to come and white knight you out of there, because women are to be exalted because they make life.
I was. Yes. So after, never mind. After I had my daughter, I was a mom. That was all I was. I was no longer attractive, but then I also was not my feelings were not taken into consideration. And I'd be like, this is what I need from you. I need the empathy. I need the support. I need to not just be the mother to your child and the housewife. And when it came back to me saying, I can't do this for you, it took me a minute, but then I was like, I'm out. I'm sorry, but I need more than that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's what I mean by reevaluation.
Yes.
Every once in a while, you need to reevaluate. Even jobs make sure you keep we have to keep our licenses up. We got to, there's continuing training, there's continuing education, right?
Well,
you don't just latch on and then pray for, that's it. I don't have to produce anything. I don't have to do anything. Now everything.
What I love about Dave is he and I will check in, or, we're good, right? Not even that, but, what was I trying to say? We validate, each other and go, okay, this is what I want. This is, you're giving me what I want. We
and there's communication.
Yes. And
plus you want to be with this person, and the other person wants to be with you, so they want to do the best you can. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Right.
I never want to be complacent. I always want to be doing the best I can. He and I are definitely equal partners, and that's wonderful. I've never, before Dave, I had never had that in my life.
That's the key. So it is possible to find someone. Okay, great.
Rose, what about you, Mama Bear? What about you, Mama Bear?
I'm sorry, Mama Bear. Yeah, let's go Mama Bear.
Yes.
I mean, my daughter's dad, when we were together, he wasn't worth anything. He wouldn't work or anything. So I would be working double shifts and third shift
He wouldn't
for
work.
like 3 days a week. Yeah, he wouldn't work.
Why?
Um, he would blame it on the fact that he had ADHD. Well, I can't concentrate long enough.
Nobody got it worse than me, babe.
And I'm sitting
like,
there
wait,
like,
wait a minute.
okay. And then finally, we were together for like 5 years. Finally, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm killing myself working as a waitress at Waffle House, third shift, like 4
On your
nights a
feet.
week,
On your
and
feet.
yeah, and doubles on the weekends. Like
And what was he doing
I
at
can't
home?
do it. He was taking care of the girls.
Sure.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Rose, what about you?
Gosh, I don't even know where to start on mine.
Just pick the worst leech that ever leached onto you, a fucking parasite that you just wish you could just brush off.
I think for me was kind of like the same story where, my ex decided to not work and go to the University of Phoenix to get a better education that I paid for.
You
on
don't
top
go to
of-
the University of Phoenix. It comes to you.
Okay, but see,
Online.
at that time, I didn't know. I didn't know that. He said I was going to the University of Phoenix. I'm like, okay. He's like, I gotta go fly to Phoenix.
We
to
live in
go to
California.
school.
How the fuck are you gonna?
I wasn't. Well, that time I wasn't thinking on how to.
It's a quick commute.
I just wasn't thinking. I was just working my tail off to pay our mortgage payment, our car payments, and and thinking everything was. He was going to school.
Did he have the audacity to link bank accounts?
We had a bank account that was for both of us,
And
then
separate
he
ones, right?
had a whole other one. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
And then but he also had a whole. So when he would tell me he was going to the University of Phoenix, so I'm thinking he's going to go catch a flight or whatever and go to school. He was
Catch a flight and go to school?
I was thinking he was going to Phoenix to go to school. Okay, that's the story he told me. I didn't think he was lying to me because I figured, we've been married for
Rose, good
a long
thing you're
time.
pretty. I love you so much.
So
You're killing the fact that you thought he commuted to the University of Phoenix.
Look,
In Phoenix.
that's what he was.
What got
But
me.
see, but that's what he was telling me. So I believed it. And so
Imagine.
he was
Yeah. I would
he
tell
was
you that too if you
leaving.
believe me.
he was
Sorry.
leaving and he was going 3 blocks down to this other woman's house and parking his car in her garage, and he had a whole other family over there.
He's literally parking his car in a garage.
He
Literally
was
and figuratively.
with a whole other family, and she knew
he had a
about me.
motorcycle. He put his hog in the garage.
Yeah.
She knew about me, but I didn't know about her. Until the divorce
That's
came
the
out.
worst.
What privilege? What privilege for her to know that she's living a double life.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And you paid for everything, and then you basically financed your own affair for him to have an affair on you.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Let me tell you, 9.5 years was amazing.
9.5 years were amazing, except for that Phoenix part.
No, it was the whole entire marriage. So that's just
Was it-
that was the end of the straw.
Did
when
he become a medical doctor from the University of Phoenix by going 9 years?
he became a computer engineer and lost everything through the divorce. So
Good.
yeah.
Good.
So
They
it
get
was,
to-
it was
He should.
They
Yeah.
get to so there is redemption. So every one of you girls made it out into a better place, correct? When you finally dropped the dead weight,
absolutely. I've been married now for 20 years with my husband. So yeah.
and it was hard, I'm sure.
It's always every relationship is not perfect. We always have ups and downs. Sometimes we get too distracted on our work, on things that we do, and sometimes it takes
Geography.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little bit to QAC to reel it back in, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Rose, you kind of walked right into that shit.
I know I did. You know what it just reminded me of?
love you.
Girl, you can't tell me.
You
tell me.
remember that one thing with Jessica Simpson where she said the can of tuna and she thought it was like chicken or something like that?
Yeah, it's a chicken of the sea.
Yeah.
That just it just felt like that right now. I'm like, my God. Anyway, listening,
Yeah, that's kind of how it was.
I feel like I need a shot right about now.
That's
I think we
fucking-
do. Thank you for indulging me in that. And that was all to do a PSA with I was confident that I was going to get those answers. That's why I asked the question. I was confident that some bum motherfuckers leached on you and thought that they had some kind of a claim on you. And I wanted to make sure to tell people, men especially, it's time to step it up.
Do better.
When you evaluate your life and evaluate the woman you have next to you, I promise, if you do good by her, she will multiply your success tenfold. Pick it up. Pick it up if you're not doing good. Guys who are doing good, keep it up. Guys who are fucking up, be self-aware and fucking fix it. Or she's going to fucking leave you.
Oh, yeah.
Period. All right. I'm so sorry. That was my disclaimer. Mamabear, please, your story. Take it away.
Mamabear's like, what did I walk into?
It's the best
No, it was-
entertainment I've had all day. Let me tell
Well-
you.
Well, I think it was valid now to talk about that because I wanted another woman's experience who's probably been through it. And it was the perfect time to ask, I think.
I think so.
Let me grab some booze.
Let's
yeah.
wait for AC.
So Mama Bear is on here. She's got an amazing story to tell us, everyone. And like I said, it's been a cliffhanger for me this whole entire time until I got to the very last episode. And like I said, if you guys go follow her on TikTok, give her a follow. She's awesome on there, and she does lives
Yes.
and she's really good telling stories. Okay, I'm
She
just
is
gonna
really
say
good.
that.
That's why I needed to ask her about her bum ass ex.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And my flaked phoenix.
Just did a almost a spit take.
She's one with my fucking nose, Rose. You fucking kidding me right now? You're gonna remind me that you thought the fucker commuted to Phoenix every day?
If anything comes out of this fucking episode, it's that.
We're off the rails. We're off the fucking rails. Mama Bear, you have
That
to
needs
save
to be
us.
a fucking short. All right, Mama Bear, thank you so much for being on our show. We're fucking idiots right now, but we like to have a good time. We want
do.
to tell you, we're gonna do justice, or, do you justice by letting you tell your story. We're gonna ask you some questions. Some of them might be hard. So I know the people pleaser in me says I'm sorry in advance, but
I'm a people pleaser too. It's okay.
I'm really excited to have you on here and really ready to get into this. So honestly, for our listeners, Mama Bear has done a series on TikTok about her journey from CO to felon, and that's what you've named it, correct? So I'm not telling any stories out of school here. However, tell us. Let's just start from the beginning. Tell us your story. You don't have to. I mean, however you want to tell it, but so our listeners know, and then we'll kind of chime in and ask questions as we go. Does that work for you guys?
That works for me.
Okay.
Absolutely. And this is a long story, so you have the floor. You can have as
Yes.
long as you need to, but yeah, we'll interject with questions.
Yes.
All right. So I started as a CO in August of 2023. I was working at a factory third shift one night, and I was looking at everyone I worked with, and I'm like, hey, you think I can do this job? Because the local facility was hiring. And they were like, yeah, we absolutely think you can, because you keep everything straight, you do your job, you don't put up with no crap or anything. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I went and I put in my application, and they interviewed me right on the spot. They were desperate for officers. And they were like, well, why do you think you're good for the job? And I was just like joking with them. I was like, well, I'm a mom of 4 kids. And they were like, oh, well,
Perfect.
perfect. You're used to babysitting children. 'Cause that's pretty much what we got here is adult children.
It's true.
And I let them know, like, I was like, I have borderline personality disorder. I have PTSD. I have anxiety and depression. And they were like, oh, well, you're perfect for the job.
Can I ask
And
how
I
many
was like,
women were a part of, like, was it a woman? Were there a lot of women where you felt comfortable being there? Or was it like all guys?
yeah,
And you were like,
right after I started, they started hiring a bunch of females. When I first got on the floor, let me see, it was me. On my shift, there was 3 women and 3 men, so it was pretty equal.
Oh, that's
They
good.
did hire a lot of women in that facility, and it was a facility where they housed female and male inmates,
wait a minute,
and
it
they
was
could
co-ed?
keep them. Yeah,
Whoa.
Like the blocks were co-ed?
yeah, like you had the females up front and you had the men in the back.
Hey, Tiffy, what's up? What?
Hey, Tiffy.
So
What?
long time listener.
Yeah,
long time
listener.
commenter. Yeah. So let me get this straight. It was co-ed. I've never heard of a co-ed prison.
So
the
it wasn't like separate floors, but it was like on the same floor, women up front, women
Well,
or
it was
men in back.
it was all a one-story facility
Okay.
mostly. So you had the women up front near booking, and then you had the men in the back. So
Was
they
there
weren't like
something?
near each other. It
Okay.
was
What
like a
separated
hallway
them?
separating them.
Okay.
It was like two long hallways, and then they were and the men were in the back. So it was like
Wow, I didn't
three
even know
doors
that was even
separating.
possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
now I have some
now
questions.
you're begging for it. You're begging for like issues.
So when they had like free time out in like a common area, were they intermingling or was it segregated?
Good question.
no, it was all segregated.
Okay.
The only time like a male like trustee or anything would be in that area is at night after lockdown when they were picking up the coolers from the
Okay.
area, and they would bring the trays up front, but they couldn't serve the trays with us. We'd have to do it by ourselves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it jumping ahead if I ask a very important question to have them?
Go ahead.
No, I don't know if I could do that because it might give away some of the story.
Okay, just let her
I'll just hang
let
on
her
to
go
it.
for a minute. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you cook.
Hold on to it.
Okay. So it was just 2 weeks of training. The first week was classroom training, and on the end of that week, you had your pepper spray exposure and you had your taser exposure. Let me tell you, I'd rather be tased a million times over before I ever get pepper sprayed again,
Yeah,
because that was
one more
terrible.
thing.
It
Yeah.
was the worst.
I had
The
to go to
worst.
Walmart right after, and I looked like I was messed up because I couldn't see. So I'm walking around Walmart, and I'm like, everyone's staring at me, and I'm like, I'm not on anything, I promise.
You're like, it's pepper spray.
Yeah.
So at this time, when you went and did that, at this time, I do have a question. Were you single or were you with somebody or you
No,
when you went
I
in?
was with my son's father, and that's the fiance in the story.
Okay.
So
So at
I
that
was
time
with
you were
him.
okay. So at that time you had a significant partner when you went
Yes.
to go work as a okay.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
He actually stayed at home with the kids so that I
No.
could fulfill my dream, because that was what I
Okay.
wanted to do. And he was like, well, I'll support you. And it was just crazy hours anyway. So there was really no way that he would have been able, with one vehicle, been able to work my crazy hours, him being able to work his hours, and then get the kids from daycare and stuff. So he was like, I'll stay at home with the boys, let you do what you want to do. And I said, okay. So the first week we had the classroom training, and then we had on floor training the second week. And it was literally, we're going to put you here, we're going to have someone shadow you for a couple days, and then you're on your own. Like, it
So
wasn't even
was
a
the pay
full week.
good?
The pay starting out was $17 an hour, but January of 2024, I keep thinking it's 2024 now.
Same.
In January of 2024, they bumped it up to $21 an hour,
Oh wow.
but
Okay.
it
So
was a
yeah.
lot of overtime.
So the pay was good. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so they put me in Maine first starting out, and they're like, okay, this is the lifeblood of the facility. You're going to open all the doors. You're going to do all this stuff. So you need to pay attention. And they seen that I was really good at it. So they were like, we're going to keep you here for like 2 weeks straight because you're really good at this. And I'm like, okay,
What
that's
is
fine.
Maine?
So it's basically you're watching all the cameras in the
Okay.
facility. You can see the outside cameras, you can see the booking cameras, you have the detox cameras, people who are on the mental health watches, and you see all that, and you see the into the PC cells. So you're controlling the doors to the outside. So when the officers bring in an inmate, you're controlling that door and letting them in. You're shutting the Sallyport door. If someone needs to go outside, an outside door with like trash detail or anything, they give you the code and you open that door. So basically you're in control of all that.
Oh, okay.
So you're the Wizard of Oz at that point. You're pulling the levers. You can literally, if you want to, let every single inmate out, right?
Pretty much.
And
Pretty much.
is that like a
Wow.
trusted position? Do you have to have like some kind of a stature to do that? Like,
No.
can a new CO do that? Brand new off the boat? Just
Yep.
Here you go. Here are the keys to the kingdom, big guy.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to illuminate how possibly that's not a good thing to do. So
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy
Well-
to me. It was only 2 weeks of training.
right.
What if
That's
you
the-
accidentally hit the wrong button and oh, whoops.
and you
Yeah,
let out a
right.
murderer. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have someone who's sitting there shadowing you and they're not paying attention halfway. They're only paying attention if like someone's complaining over the radio, hey, it's taking a while to open this door, or oh, if I need help with something, that's when they're paying attention. If not, they're
Right.
just sitting there, people come in and they talk to their buddies or whatever while they're sitting there trying to train you.
Yeah, easy day for them. You're doing the work and they get to
Yep.
sit.
My
Right.
God. Okay.
And not only
Yeah.
are you opening all the doors and everything, but you're keeping a log too of what
Okay.
time officers come in with inmates, what time they leave, if there's city, if there's sheriff, people coming back from like the job sites for the Class D program. You having to write all this down while you're controlling the doors. And during the day, it gets really hectic because you have court people coming in and out. You got lawyers coming in and out talking to people. You have social workers coming in and out talking to people. It gets really hectic at times.
Oh, I'm sure.
Has
Yeah.
anybody ever bamboozled or like lied their way in or like took advantage of a CO and no, nothing like that.
No,
Okay.
no, nothing like
It's
that.
just, it's right for that, for some really awake inmate to figure out how to play you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to get to the juicy part. I want to get to the juicy part.
What juicy part? This is just an instructional video on what COs do.
I'm like,
There's no
I want to get to the juicy part. Can we get to the
no
juicy
juice,
part?
no juice.
What
I wanted
not to do when you're a CO?
right. I'm gonna quickly share. I'm gonna share the screen here, and I'm gonna share what her TikTok looks like, so you can take a look at it if y'all want to, so you can kind of see the, like the metamorphosis of the whole thing with the whole playlist. But please continue.
Okay. Yes, Mamabear. Keep going.
All right. So, I started and everything was going great. I was catching on to everything really quickly. They were all really, oh, you've never had any experience, but you're still catching on. We're really impressed. You're going to go far in this career. And I'm like, okay, I was going to make a career out of it because once you go into the FOP after 6 months, then your kids could go to college for free.
So what for
Oh,
us laymen's, what is FOP?
Fraternal of Police.
Got it. Okay.
Fraternal Order of Police, yeah.
Got it.
Oh,
So, like,
where they plan and congregate their plans. Yeah. How are we gonna fuck over the people that pay us?
Yeah, so everything went good from August on. October is when it started getting dicey because that's when Hunter got transferred to the facility.
And Hunter is the name we're using.
Yeah, Hunter
Yeah.
is the yeah.
Okay.
So tell us about this. So Hunter gets transferred into the facility, and what happens?
Well,
So
can we find out how did you meet Hunter?
Well, that's
Oh,
what I
okay.
was asking.
yeah,
So
yeah. that's
we
how
don't
I
know
met
Hunter
him.
until he gets transferred, correct?
Yeah, don't know him until he gets transferred into the facility.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned before, the Class D workers program. So, if you have a Class D felony and you were a male, and if you didn't have like any violent charges or anything like
Mhm.
that, you would qualify to go outside and work, whether it be like picking up trash. They would do different projects. Like if there was a parade in the city, they would help set up for the parade and stuff. And they'd come back, they earn a little bit of money. So, they would transfer inmates from different facilities. Either, they got into some behavioral issues at the facility they were in before, and they're getting shipped for like a fresh start, or it's just a routine transfer. So we had about 15 inmates that day transfer in from a facility that was over an hour away. And I'm walking around helping out and helping out doing detox checks because you got to do those every 15 minutes. Then
What
you
are
have to
detox
do
checks?
So you walk around, make sure the inmates that are in detox are alive for one. Making
That would be
sure
a
that
good
they're
thing.
breathing.
So general
making
wellness check.
Yeah, do a wellness check, making sure they're okay, ask them if they need any water, keep an eye on their detox symptoms and stuff. So I was helping doing that, and then we had some mental health people, and that's an every 5-minute check. So
Oh,
you have to
Jesus.
go and check to make
Wow.
sure. Yeah.
Is that somebody's like when you come in for the day and you look at the chart, you're like, oh, you're on this detail?
Turtle suit.
What's that?
Turtle suit.
Turtle suit.
What's turtle
It's
soup?
when it's the suit that they give you when you go on to the
Oh,
mental health checks. I don't want to say
okay.
the other word.
Right, right.
So they would literally just give them the suit and a little blanket, and that's it. And you would either get put on that, whether if you have like hospitalizations over the past year or certain charges, they would automatically put you on that when you go into the facility. So you had those and you had your detox. Sometimes you would have other medical checks, whether if someone got injured before they were in and we're just keeping an eye on them while they're in there. So I was doing those and I was just walking around and I noticed this one dude just sitting there just watching me and sitting there like just staring at me and I'm just like, okay. So I didn't think anything of it. I was just walking around and then we got them all booked in, got them back to their respective pods, and I went back there and he would just sit there and hi, this is my name and how are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm all right. Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? And he'd be like, no. And I work in the tower, which was in the back with the men. So you walk in, you see all the cells, and then you have the tower in the middle. And that's where the officers would be. We wouldn't be in the pods with them. We were outside the pods.
Okay.
And I would notice that he would start to stay up like late whenever I'd work my late shifts because I was working second shift at the time. So it's 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. unless they're like, hey, we need you for overtime. And then you're either going to be there till 3 a.m. or 7 a.m. And there
So
was a lot of times I worked 16-hour shifts.
right. So I've have a few friends who used to be COs, and overtime seemed to be inevitable. Was it something that was all? I mean, now is overtime because they are not staffed enough, or because
Yeah.
people call out, or just you're in here now and we've got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was mostly due to understaffing because we were understaffed a lot. We'd get like a wave of officers in and then they'd see what the job was actually would be like and they would just quit.
Oh
They're like,
gosh.
it's not worth it. And so the way it was mandated that it was the day before your day off, you'd have to stay late. And if it was the day you were coming back from your day off, you'd have to come in early.
Oh wow.
So no matter what, you're working a 12 the day before and the day after.
So you're
Yeah, that
ready
sucks.
for your weekend.
So is everybody really like overworked and underpaid? Is that what you're saying? Like
Yes.
you're around dangerous people who have made grave mistakes. You
Yes.
are underpaid. You have crazy long hours. You're probably understaffed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are people
Yeah.
coming in, and there are women coming in that probably don't really realize what it really takes, right? It's usually a man's
Yeah.
job,
It
and
usually is.
because you don't want a savvy criminal to take advantage of somebody. And I'm not saying that you're not competent or any woman who's competent to do that. They are, but you have to be extra woke to make sure you gotta know what's going on all around you because they can overpower you.
Before
yeah.
we get too far, I know you had looked at it and thought, I want to do this. This is kind of what, where I want my career to be. What made you want to be a CO?
Great question.
Well, growing up, I've started telling the story about my mom and the stuff I went through with her. Growing up, I've never really had anyone to like protect me, and I've never had someone like be in my corner. So I wanted to be that person to go in there because I know how they usually get treated in there. I wanted to be that person, and I wanted to like advocate for their mental health and stuff, and try to make a difference to hopefully see, show them like, hey, not everyone's gonna treat you like they have been treating you. There's actually good people out there still that want to make a difference, and they're not just here to make a buck.
I love that.
And so I just wanted to be a voice for the people who didn't have anyone to have a voice for them.
I love that. That's very noble, and I think that's great.
That is great. I mean,
because as people, there's two types of people, or more than, but there are people like yourself and many of us that go, this is something I didn't have that I was lacking, and I want to make it better. And then there's other people who go, I didn't have this. Fuck it. Fuck the world. I'm going to continue to keep on with that trauma.
yeah, there's definitely two
You know
ways
what I
you can
mean?
go with that. Yep.
Yeah, you can either embrace it and do better, or you
Yeah.
can embrace it and say fuck the world.
You can
So,
you can be a shit father. You can be a shit father because your father was a shit father,
Right,
or you can decide to
exactly.
take that example and never be that.
Exactly. So I love that was your reason. I like your why. So
Oh, come on.
all right. So keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
No, you're fine. So I would notice that he'd start staying up late on my 3 a.m. shifts, and the way it was set up, it was closed cells, so you'd have cells with cell doors, but there were so many people in there that they had to put them on these little boats. So basically, they're not sleeping on the floor, but they're sleeping on the floor. It's just a little thing, like it looks like a little boat,
like
and
a
it's
little
got like
cot
holes
type
in it
thing.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, like a little cot, and he would be underneath the TV. So anytime I would be working, the late shifts, he'd go to sleep after I'd leave and then sleep until he'd have to go to work, and then he'd sleep a little bit when he got off because I would be there before he would come back into the facility from working. And I just started noticing that, and I was like, okay. Like, I still didn't think of anything of it because, a lot of people stay up at night when they're locked up and they sleep a lot during the day. So
Right.
I was used to that. I didn't think anything of it. And then I started doing trash detail, which trash detail would be after, tray service at night for dinner. The kitchen would clean up. We do kitchen inspection, make sure everything was there, make sure they didn't take any extra food or take any like knives or anything with them back to the pods. And then right after, you'd have 5 Class D inmates come up, and they'd each grab, like the dumpsters that they pick up with the trash
Yeah.
truck.
Yep.
So we'd have those in the kitchen that we'd just take out. You'd have to call intercode to Maine to have them open the door. You go through a locked gate and in through the parking lot, and there was the dumpsters. So anytime I would be doing it, he would always break his neck to be the first one out the door to make sure he got to do trash service. And I was just, at first, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. You want to do it? I don't care. Let's just get this over with. Get back in here. And he came up to me one day and he was like, if I write you a note, are you going to send me to the hole? And I'm like, well, it depends on what is in the note that you write me, because I'm not the type of person to immediately, if someone does something, I'm not going to go throw them into solitary because I know how it can mess up people who are in there for a good amount of time.
It's a
And I'm always going to give you a chance. And then after that, then we'll escalate, because I'm just not going to go in there and just put my foot down and be an ass pretty much to these
are,
people, because you
are,
got all the.
would most of the I'm sorry to control, but would most of the men do that? Would the men like go right away?
Oh
Like you're
no.
no? Did everybody get
Oh
a
no,
chance?
they pull them out immediately. They're like, nope, let's go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
And
do you feel
yeah,
like you were a little softer than? And I don't mean softly in that way. Like you were just a little bit more like empathetic. Like you might have
yeah,
a mistake. I'm not going to throw you in
yeah.
administrative segregation for nothing.
Yeah, I would always look out for them to keep them out of trouble. I would see something and I'm like, hey, is this a good decision you're making? Think about this. It could add some time onto you. You're already waiting this long for your trial. Like, don't put yourself in an even worse position that you're already in. And so I go up to unlock the gate one night and he sticks something in my pocket. And I just look down and I look at him and I'm like, dude, you got to stay 6 feet away from me at all times. And you don't come up behind me like that. I was like, that can get you seriously hurt if you could do it to the wrong person. And my bad, I understand, okay. We do trash detail, we come back in, he goes back to his cell, I go to the bathroom and I read the letter. And it's basically, hey, this is who I am, this is my name, this is how old I am, here's my birthday, here's what I'm in here for, I'm not a bad guy. And it basically was just him telling me about himself. It wasn't anything like flirtatious or anything. It was just basically, this is a little bit of my background, this is my mom's name, this is my mom's phone number if you want to get in touch with her, this is her name on Facebook, like just
Yeah,
pretty much saying,
softening. She's
I
not
just
going
want
to
to tell you
go
more about myself.
into full
So
sicko mode right away.
right, but hindsight though, a little bit, it's a bit flirty. I mean, in a way, right? I mean,
Yeah, in a way it was.
nobody's gonna. I mean, most people aren't going to make that. that advance if there's not something there. Now,
Right.
don't get me wrong. Initially, I would have probably gone, it's innocent because that's who I am. You know what I mean? I'm going to give
Yeah.
everybody the benefit of the doubt first, but little odd, right? Hindsight.
Yeah, it was odd. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I get hit on a lot while I was there. And anytime I
course,
told them
yeah.
to back up, they'd back up, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect you. And I was just like, just leave it there and nothing's gonna happen over this. Just don't do it again. And I'm sitting there just like, okay. And then he starts going, well, hey, can I write you more? And I'm like, I'm probably not gonna write you back, right? And he's like, probably, but it's just nice to have someone to talk to and all that, and someone who can be a little bit more understanding than most people. And I was like, all right, it's only his mom's the only person he's got in his corner. He told me his dad passed away in 2019, and I was just like, all right. So he starts writing me more letters, and at the end of October, that was when everything started happening with my dad. That was when he told me like, hey, you know, something. He wouldn't tell me what was going on. He would just be like, I need to talk to you about something. Then one night he was like, hey, FaceTime me. And so I FaceTimed him. And that's when he told me that he was diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. And he actually found out on my birthday, but he didn't want to tell me on my birthday.
Mm.
And he was just like, I'm scared. And I'm like, well, what do we know so far? He was like, well, it's in the left side of my lung. It's went to my lymph nodes already. We're starting chemo and radiation in the next 6 weeks. And he was like, I'm scared. And I was like, well, I'm scared too. And I told him that, no matter what happened, I'd be there for him every step of the way. And then the night that was that night I was off, and the next day I had to go back into work. And Hunter, he noticed. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just like, I'm fine. Just leave it alone because I wasn't ready to talk about it yet. Because this is just new information that I just recently got.
You haven't processed it yet.
No, I haven't. And I've already, contacted the girl's stepmom and told her what was going on. We haven't even told the girls yet. And so he was just like, something's off about you, and I can tell. He's like, what is going on? And I just told him, I said, look, we just found out my dad's got this cancer and we don't know how it's going to go. And that's when he started talking about how he lost his dad in 2019 a little bit more. And anytime after that I would see him, it would be, hey, how's your dad? Has he started his chemo yet? He was always wanting to be there and like talk about my dad because, like I said, he's lost his. So he knows how it feels. And I've already lost my mom. She went in 2016. And so he would talk to me about it and every day would write me a letter, you know. And November comes around and I get pulled into the captain's office one day and they're like, hey, we got an allegation that we need to investigate against you. And I'm sitting there like, okay. And they're like, well, what's going on with you and Hunter? And at that time, there was nothing going on. And so I told him, I was like, there's nothing going on. Like, he just talks to me about stuff that he's going through. They're lonely when they're locked up. You can talk to him and ask him the same thing. Like, there's nothing going on. And they're
Right.
like, well, we're going to investigate it and we're going to keep you up front for until the investigation's over. And I was so upset. I was like, I'm fixing to just turn in my stuff. I'm fixing to quit because I'm getting accused of something I'm not doing. And one of the staff sergeants looked at me and he was like, I'll tell you when it's time to quit. He was like, they didn't suspend you. They just said, we're going to move you out of the area while we investigate. He said, they really probably don't have anything on you. It's just probably a coworker of yours who thinks they're all high and mighty and thinks that they can get you in trouble for something. And I was like, all right. So I work up front. They call me in the office about a week later and they're like, we hadn't found anything against you. We heard that he was talking about an officer that he was trying to talk to, but he told us that it was an officer at the facility he just came from. So we called that facility and let them know. And I was like, okay. Then I'm like, can I go back to my regular duties now? And they're like, yeah. And I walk back there and he sees me and he was like, I told you. He's like, I'm solid, I'm not gonna tell them anything. Like, I'm not gonna get you in trouble. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble. And I believed it.
So real quick, just because it's on my mind and I don't want to forget it. Those first notes that he would give you, what were they about? Were they just, how was your day? Or were they, I
Yeah,
really think you're
it would be
cute?
like
Or how
it
did
would
they all go?
he would start being more flirtatious in them, like telling me I was cute and all that, and telling me I was pretty, and just telling me more about himself, trying to get to know more about me, telling me that everything's gonna be okay with my dad, just stuff like that. It didn't get like serious until like December.
How did
Okay.
they find out that they
Well,
were
well,
oh,
Real quick.
no, because she said that they told her they were gonna do an investigation on
Yeah.
her. How did they know that there was something going on? Did they catch you through the cameras? Did someone say something?
I found out a coworker of mine had a suspicion that Hunter had a crush on me, and they seen
Oh,
that
so
I would
there's a
talk to
rat.
him.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right?
well,
A
I mean,
And
rat.
they seen that I would talk to him and stuff when I went into the pod, so they were just thinking something was going on when there wasn't, trying to be, oh well, I can bust this person and I can move further in my career, da 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 da.
Right.
And
did you ever take pictures of the letters with your phone?
I have not of the early letters, but after I got terminated, I still have a couple of those that he
Okay.
wrote me.
Got it.
Oh
I
wow.
actually read a
God,
couple
I
on
would
my
love to see
live
those
one
photos.
night.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd love to see the letter. Same.
AC is invested, just
Um,
like I am. I'm like going
really early on when he was giving you letters, would you give him letters back, or was it just you'd get the letter and kind of talk to him as you were going about your day?
I didn't start writing him back until December.
Okay. And what made you do that?
Um, we had just passed, he had passed so many notes to me because he'd write me one every single day. And when I had my 2 days off and stuff, he would have two written for me for the days off and then a third for that day.
Red
So
flag.
it was literally every day that he was writing me these letters.
did by
Love
any
bombing you.
Throwing the challenge flag on that.
Love bombing.
by
Yeah.
any did by any chance throughout this whole thing did anything like, okay, this is wrong, like I could lose my job, like did any of that come across your head
Before
like
December. I mean,
And was
before,
and was it exciting?
I mean,
of course it was.
I mean
It
the
was-
Words in her
excitement
mouth.
was
This is
there.
an interview.
It had to be an
Of course it was, girl.
excitement. I mean, I married my boss, so I know there had to be an excitement there. So
Okay, okay, Rose.
I'm just saying, you
Not
think there's-
everybody to you, Rose. No, we're
No,
just
but I'm
joking.
just saying, I'm just saying was there an excitement there for you? Like this is kind of,
yeah, I
It's
mean,
taboo.
I wasn't really like confident in my body at the time because I was over 300 pounds when I started at this facility.
Mhm.
But over the course of over a year, I lost over 100 pounds.
I
Good
was about to
job.
say,
Oh,
you're
good
not
for
300
you.
pounds.
I know. I would.
I was like, there's no way you're 300 pounds. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Good
Good
job.
for you.
I was. I mean, in the back, you had the two stories of the mail pod, so you'd have 4 flights of stairs that you'd have to go up and down every hour to do your rounds. And then, of course,
Wow.
run into codes and stuff. So I was always on my feet,
Okay, I'm sorry.
unless I actually got lucky to just sit.
I don't think we've mentioned this. Do we glaze over what state this is?
We're gonna keep that.
Confidential? Okay.
Yeah.
Because some states, for example, like they just uncovered in Louisiana and Alabama that has some of the worst like work release, if you want to call it that. But really they release them out to McDonald's and like places like that, to big corporations like Walmart.
Oh, work for low.
And you wouldn't know. Well, it's not, but they don't make any money. It all goes to the states.
Goes back to
They're
the-
basically
gotcha.
trafficking people and making
Them
slaves.
pay for their.
We talked
They're
about this,
paying
Rose.
for their own incarceration, is what they're doing.
Well, it's a for-profit model.
Yes,
So
yeah.
when you put your people to work, they didn't ask for that job. They're slavery. And if you think about it,
And they get pennies
Yeah.
on the dollar.
and they
for
get
their
pennies on the dollar,
own.
and to make $7.50 an hour, they're taking $4 automatically.
Well, there
And then
should have
another-
been better choices in life,
Right,
don't you think?
right, and that's what Rose says, and that's like I brought this up to Rose. 'Cause I knew she was going to say that in another episode because it's always
Sign me
like
up.
it's always the the end result with her. It's like, well, you shouldn't have done the crime unless it was somebody close to her that might have done the crime but didn't really do it, and then they put him in slavery, and then you're like, oh, I care about that. Right?
No.
Shouldn't-
You did the
shouldn't have done
crime.
time.
Go ahead and do the time. You know what? My taxes shouldn't pay for your mistakes. So
There you go. You should work. You should work in a McDonald's.
go
And make a
for it.
corporation rich. No, all you're doing is making a corporation rich. You're not really doing anything.
All
That's all
right,
you're
so
doing.
Lesson
we're
learned.
going a little off track
Well,
here.
it was on track until
Yeah, I know.
Until it wasn't.
Until it wasn't. See, she gets it. So initially, up until December, everything was very innocent in your eyes. Everything, you could tell he was being this some sort of way, but you're like, no. But obviously, I mean, as a woman or anyone, it is always nice to feel wanted. Correct. In any respect, like, oh, we may not feel the best about ourselves or whatever. So getting that attention, especially if you're in in a spot where it's not so good, it always feels good. So what changed in December?
Well, we were just talking so much, and then my fiance was getting frustrated with always being home with the boys because, like I said, we worked long, long hours, and we'd only had one vehicle at the time. So when I was at work, he couldn't take the boys out of the house to go to a park or anything. They would always just be there. And so he was getting frustrated. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. It's late.
And
thank you for staying up with us.
Yes.
Yes.
and he would just not be the best person emotionally or mentally. He would send me like really mean text messages just saying, you don't care about us anymore. You're always just at work. And I'm just like,
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
supporting
Yeah.
this family.
I'm
So we had one
providing.
guy kind of like really telling you what you want to hear and complimenting you, and the other one kind of saying, hey, you're not here enough. What the fuck, right? So that alone would drive you.
Well, and I find that disparage the if a woman goes out and pursues her career and has children and
Right.
leaves the children home with either their father or somebody else, a daycare or whatever, they are, they're chastised for it, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes, because you're the mom, you should be
You're
here.
Mr. Mom, right? You're Mr. Mom, and
Well,
it's-
as the woman, you're like you're put down for having aspirations and goals. Yet a man does that, and the woman could be home doing all the things at home and doing all whatever, and yet they're applauded for it, and even the kids do it too. I'll be fair. I I am a mother of 2 daughters. I was a single mom up in for a long time. And I went out with my career and did well, but I had to be at work. And even I still found that people would go, well, shouldn't you be home with your kids, or so
Right.
it's really hard being, and I'm not trying to be like this, but there is a double standard here. You know what I mean?
it's a social contract.
The man
that we
is
don't-
said to, if he goes out for his career and he has to, maybe he's not home all the time, but he's making a living, but he's providing for his family. That's
no
supposed
questions
to,
asked. Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
awarded and applauded, and
Right.
a woman does that and shouldn't, why is she doing that? Blah, blah, blah. Why is she abandoning her kids? She's not. She's actually providing for her children and doing the best she can. You know what I mean?
That begs the
And-
question: how many male COs work in women's?
Well, probably quite a few.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of
Yeah.
male COs taking care of women inmates?
There was a sergeant that after he quit, he left his wife for an inmate that got released.
What?
Damn, he is
Yeah.
hot. What? Say that one more time.
That he is hot.
You're fucking boiling, sis.
Left his wife for a
Wow.
female inmate,
Wow.
Dude waited though. He was like, "Let me just leave my wife first, and I got you, boo.
pretty much.
I'm gonna wife you up, girl."
Right.
Damn.
And that same sergeant was also putting money on a trustee's books using a card that wasn't in his name and
Wow.
using a fake name.
He was money laundering to the what do you call it, the commissary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dang.
Because the same trustee, I knew him from the time like my girls were little. He used to be my neighbor, and he was like, "Well, you can do this for me. This person used to do it for me this way," and I'm like,
No. I'm good.
That's why people come up to like with some shady shit. People come up to you and they're like, "Hey, I just got this thing for you to help me." I'm like,
Mm-mm.
I don't want none of part of your shady shit, dude. It's gonna come right back to me. Come on. And it's
Yep.
only the credit card's one person removed. I mean, you can clearly find that. So,
Clearly.
Okay,
So-
I
sorry.
wasn't the problem child though, so I just want to make that known. I wasn't the problem child in the facility. That facility had a lot of issues.
No
You were
judgment
just
from
the
me.
one that got caught.
Wow.
Which-
There's actually a couple of different male CEOs in the past that have gotten caught and served time over having a relationship with a female inmate.
oh wow.
So is this like a common thing? I'm assuming it sounds like
seems
it's
like
kind of
it.
common.
You put men and
It's
women
more
together since the dawn of
common-
time, they be fucking.
You know, but I mean, this seems like it's a common thing.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's
Wow.
more common than what you realize it
Absolutely.
actually is, or wouldn't even think about it.
You think somebody's hot, doesn't matter what uniform they're wearing. An inmate uniform, or you just think they're hot. You know what I mean? It's animal attraction. It's not a.
Well, and I don't think it's. I think a lot of times it's not so much. I mean, looks is sexual. Primal
Sure.
attraction is a
Yeah.
thing.
on
but
the
I
entire
think a lot
spectrum,
But also, a lot of times it's the emotional part of it,
Manipulation.
right? Well, not
Mhm.
even so much the manipulation ultimately, but
Well.
you could be in a not so good relationship and this person gives you I mean, this is in anything in life.
anything. Yeah.
This person gives you attention and you feel great and they make you feel good about yourself, and then hindsight, as you go past it, you realize, oh, they really weren't looking out for me, they were just looking
Right.
out for them.
And
You
that's
know what I mean?
manipulation. That's manipulation
It
because
absolutely is.
even when she got that first letter, she was being manipulated because he knew not to go too ham.
Right.
It would talk about go in with the father, that angle, knew exactly how to get in there so later on he can have a chance to do what he wants.
Absolutely. So I mean, in especially in a close quarters like that, I mean, it's very easy to I feel like as a woman a lot of times you go, oh, I feel empathy for this person, I feel bad for them, I do want, they're not the as bad as people perceive them because they're in jail. You know what I mean? There is a person behind the crime, and you get to. I think women in general, and this is I'm
misogynistic. Do you want me to be
I'm painting
misogynistic?
broad strokes, but I feel like women in general really want to get to know people and look at people for who they are, who we think they are rather than what the society perceives them at. And I think it's easy to get into that. I mean,
For sure.
I'm guilty of it in my life. So I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah?
I've kissed a lot of frogs. I've kissed a lot of frogs.
I've been around the world. I've kissed a lot of girls, and you're saying it's true.
But I'm
Nobody
just
can
saying,
say
I guess that's what
nobody
I'm trying to say. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
Such a
So
good
December,
kiss
let's
on-
get back to
December. Let's get
kiss
December. I want
on my neck. Oh,
She's
baby.
excited.
I'm like,
Rose is
want
like,
to-
spill the fucking tea. We need all
Yeah,
the tea.
I think pause. Spill the fucking tea.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, December, I just started writing him back, like telling him about me, telling him about a bunch of stuff that I dealt with when I was growing up. I knew that he had a daughter, so I kind of just told him, I have 4 kids myself,
Mm.
and told him their names. And so we're
Yikes.
just, yeah.
Hold on to that one. It'll come
Yeah,
up later.
put that feather in your cap for a moment.
Yeah. Put
Oh,
that in
cheers
my
to
back
that
pocket
one.
for a
Put
second.
it in your pocket. Cheers to that
Are we
one.
are we doing more liquor?
We are doing more liquor.
You know what they say, right?
Okay, because we're getting into December, and I
Liquor
wanna-
make it slicker.
yes, so we're getting into December, and December is good.
Is December where all the hot tea is boiled?
All the hot tea is boiled.
It's
Lucky.
where
All
it
right.
starts.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, folks.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, so I started writing him back, and the week of Christmas, I came down with the flu. First time I've ever had it in my life. Don't recommend it. 0 out of 10. So I was off for a week, and I didn't have any other communication with him, so I didn't get to tell him, like, hey, I'm sick. Kind of find out he had asked a couple of my fellow officers, like, hey, what's going on with her? I haven't seen her. And they're like, oh, she has the flu. She'll be out all week. She'll be back on Monday.
Why are we we just discussing things with prisoners, like if they were our friends?
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta think we're spending more time with them than we are our own families.
However, the state pays you to do a job, which
And
is not,
it's minimum security.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
not chop it
Yeah.
up with the dude that chopped up a guy. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
she's not in a place where, I mean, these folks, the prisoners in her facility are going out and doing work release, or they're picking up trash, they're setting up parades. It's not
Mhm.
like she
Mhm.
has the worst of, she doesn't have murderers.
Yeah, she's not in.
I did have a couple of murderers in there.
Right, but the majority of them were not
Yeah.
in that bucket of criminal.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
I
pretty
mean,
much.
Okay, we're gonna get off track again. However, was your facility? I mean, was there a bit more leniency as to what the inmates could do as far as I mean, they took out
Is it
trash,
maximum
they did all
security?
the things.
Was
It
it
was not
maximum
maximum security,
Okay,
correct?
No, it wasn't maximum.
Okay.
Got it.
It wasn't
that's all we
even a
needed.
state facility.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Okay, so there's a
then
little bit
you're
more
out.
leeway. Go ahead.
You're out
Yeah, there's
for 2 weeks in December. I'm like,
yeah.
He
So
knows
you
you
were
have the flu.
out and you were sick, and what happened when you came
And
back?
I came back, we had been flirtatious and stuff, and he had, tried to get me to say yes to being in a relationship with him before I left. And I was just like, we're gonna go slow, if anything. We're just gonna talk, kind of feel each other out, making sure, I'm not gonna get him in trouble, making sure he's not gonna get me in trouble. And so
At this
I come
moment, what are you
back.
thinking about your fiance? Like, where does your fiance fit in this?
Um,
How are you
does
feeling
at
about
the
him?
time-
Obviously, not great.
not the greatest at the time. The relationship started going downhill really, really fast at that
Because
point.
of him, or before him?
Before.
Before.
Me and this guy have been together now almost 10 years,
Wow.
off and on.
wow.
Gotcha.
So we've put each other through a bunch of crap. And we both made bad decisions in the relationship.
Good question.
So I can't just put it all on him. It's on me too.
Oh, for sure. No, and I was just implying where your head was at with him. Certainly, when you get to those levels, you both have done enough damage for everybody. That's you're splitting hairs now. What I wanted to know was like the timeline of like the catalyst. Was it because of the fact you were having issues, or because we're the other way around? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we've been having issues for a while. At that point, I was just kind of numb to the relationship.
Okay.
Just because of everything that we had been through. Bunch of infidelity on both ends. More on his end than mine, admittedly. But yeah, so I wasn't really thinking about him at the time. I was
Right.
just kind of like, ooh, what's going on over here? Shiny.
Was
That's
it
probably a
like
bad way
a
of saying it.
general apathy, like I don't really care, or was it like a little bit of you wanted to stick it to him?
A little bit of both.
Both.
Yeah,
Fair.
so I come back from having the flu, and I'm still sick, obviously. Not long after I came back from the flu, I came back with pneumonia. So flu and pneumonia back to back. Still working a bunch of overtime. He had written me a letter for each day that I was gone.
Damn,
Yeah.
my boy got time.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Got
obviously he
nothing
does.
but time. He doesn't- he's-
I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do? I love
Right.
your honesty is incredibly robust. Can I tell you that? Like the way you just answer, and we didn't really talk beforehand in the green room and say like, I'm not going to talk about this. Like you're like, let's go. So I thank you for being so candid. I know it's got to be tough.
I mean, I just want to be transparent. I don't want to be one of those content creators that are different on camera than they are off camera. Like what you see on camera, that's me. That's what you get.
It's
And
refreshing.
I'm
Thank you.
always like honest and blunt. So I'm not going to change myself just because I'm on camera.
Wow.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
I mean, us as content creators
That's who we
appreciate
are,
like an
too.
actual truth and real stories because
Yes.
it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you're like, really? That's where we get it off. You know, now we're interviewing a lot more people, and it's amazing to get it from people's mouths because the story arcs cannot be written. You know, so
Mhm.
please continue.
So I come back and he has written me a letter again asking me to be in a relationship with him. And so January 2nd, I gave in and I was like, yeah, I'll I'll be in a relationship with you. We'll date, whatever that's going to look like. He was supposed to be going up for parole in May. So we were like, well, maybe we won't, oh, sorry. Maybe we won't have to like hide so much because hopefully you'll get your parole and stuff because you've been in here for a little bit. Because he was in on a 6.5 year sentence for stealing a Jeep.
Oh, what sentence?
And
Did you
when
say that again?
6.5 years.
6.5
6 and a
years.
half years. Thank you.
Yeah.
For stealing
So
a
he was
Jeep?
in there on 6.5 years for stealing a Jeep. And
Damn.
when they tried to stop him, he just took off and led him on a police chase through 3 different counties into another state.
That'll get you every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Every time. High speed
Yeah.
police chase. Do not recommend. 0 stars.
Yeah. So we, I started writing him more letters, and eventually one day I just made a Text Now account and gave him that phone number because they had chirp devices in the facility. So basically, it's like an Apple iPod that they can text on. That's the only thing they can do on them. They can't
Yeah.
receive pictures. They can't
enough.
even receive messages with emojis or anything like that. It's very basic.
When you're
And
when you're
it's
in
text.
jail all day, that's a godsend. It's a fucking
Yeah,
godsend.
and they had tablets in the facility too.
Did you text anybody you wanted, like like message and like Telegram or?
Yeah, as long as you had the number of the person you were texting and you had the money, you could text whatever number you wanted.
Right, because iCloud, right? Whatever,
Yeah.
the equivalent.
So yeah.
So was it like having a phone card where you loaded it with money and you could did they charge you like per text or
Yeah, it was
per text?
it was 10
course.
cents a message to send and
Nice.
10 cents a message to receive.
Got it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
So you put $15 on it, that's 150 text messages.
Got
Can
it.
I ask before we move on, because the word date, you said, oh fine, I'll date you. Date, when your mind, you were like, what does this look like? Like, extrapolate a date for me in this context.
Honestly, I didn't know what it was going to look like because obviously I couldn't talk to him on like phone calls and I couldn't video visit him because I worked in the facility and
Right.
and everything's recorded.
Right.
So text messages are recorded, anything. And so
And
I was going into this unknown, like I don't know what this is going to look like.
Right.
Give it a shot. Why not?
Right.
so you had mentioned that you had a different name and a whole ass different phone number for the app, right? The texting app.
Yes, ma'am.
And you guys had said that you worked in a factory and everything was kind of flip-flopped so as to not, because were these texts through this app monitored through the facility?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why you had a whole different persona and all the things.
Yep.
Okay. Just so everybody knows, you were incognito with
Mhm.
this texting app.
Yeah.
Encrypted.
Trying to be
Trying to
smart.
be, yes.
Yeah, we said my name was Courtney and
Solid name.
that I lived in like a city like 2 or 3 hours away. I worked in a factory, trying to do anything we can to just not get them suspicious that it was me that he was texting.
Okay.
I'm dying. I have a question for you. I'm dying over
I
here.
commute from Phoenix
Did you know what? Fuck you, AC. You eat
to
chicken
jail.
tuna. Did you guys, right when you guys started dating, was there any physical contact? Like, did you do anything? Like, did you you kiss him somewhere? Did you?
That's too much tea right now, isn't it? You see it?
Well, I want now they're dating.
Are we there?
Look how red I am. Look how fucking red I am.
We're almost there.
Jesus.
We're almost
Okay,
there.
we're not
Okay,
there. Okay,
get
Irma
us
blush.
there.
We're almost there.
I'm like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Want to go? I'm like, I want to know more.
Seriously, I'm with you, Rose.
Look,
Like,
I even went. Look, I even
keep
brought my
interrupting us.
blanket out because I even have my brain clear. I didn't look. Think of.
Oh my god.
I need napkins. A lot of napkins. Please continue.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
So-
think of that, AC.
Not long after that, he had gotten in an altercation with another inmate that he worked with, and he was actually fired from the Class D program. And I was in the tower that day, and I seen that we got a move list, and his name was on it. And he was being moved out and into a regular pod. So I kind of came in there on one of my rounds, and I'm like, hey, go ahead and start like packing up your stuff because you're about to get moved out of here. Kind of just preparing him for it, giving him a little warning. And that didn't go over well. They had to send the biggest, buffest sergeant we had back there. Once my coworker tried to get him to move, he started throwing a fit, and it almost got physical with him and that sergeant. And I'm sitting here like listening in on this, and I'm just like, oh my god, just go. Just go.
The tea is so hot. You gotta go.
You're right. You're like, I gave you a warning so you didn't fucking flip out, dude. Just fucking do
And
your
you
thing.
flip out anyway.
Yeah.
You're doing the thing. You're doing the thing that we talked about.
Yeah. We talked
Yeah,
about
you're doing the thing that I tried to prevent you from doing the thing.
Right, right.
And so he got moved into an upstairs pod, and that's when they would have access to the tablets a little bit more. And anytime that you got a tablet that was charged, you'd have to give a dead tablet to get the charged tablet. So one day he was like, hey, can you take me down and get a tablet? And I'm like, you have a dead one? And he was like, yeah. And that wasn't actually his, it was someone else's. He was like, hey, let me see this. I'll get you a charged one. Just let me go down there and get it. And we went into the stairwell, and the stairwell didn't have any cameras. And everyone knew that there wasn't cameras there. And there was a part of the stairwell that you couldn't see.
Hold up.
That you couldn't.
And you're like, I can't date you anymore, right? This is too crazy.
So we stopped, and I gave him a hug, and against my better judgment, I gave him a kiss.
That's the door. The door opening.
And I'm just like, okay. So we go get the tablet. We go our separate ways. You know, that's how we would pass the notes. He would stick it in my pocket whenever, because every day he'd be like, hey, tablet. And I'm like, okay, hold on. And then he kissed me, hugged me. That's when he started telling me he loved me and stuff. And I was just like, okay.
Did he tell you he loved you right away? And did you tell him back, or did you kind of like, this is more like
It wasn't right away. He definitely said it first. And at first I was just like,
That's a lot.
yeah. I'm like, that is a lot. Because he knew that I had the fiance at home and everything. So like he knew
Well,
all
you don't
that.
care. You don't care about that. That's
He
the least of
don't.
his problem.
Yeah.
He's trying to measure his dick so he can make it out the bars. Like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like he's not worried about that. He's the last thing he's worried about.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned there were on your TikToks that there was an age difference between you two, correct? Was that something that gave you pause initially, or
Well, yeah,
like
he was
10
20
years?
He was 22 and I was 32.
Oh, good.
Oh.
I like that reversal. Hell yeah, that's a good one. That's a good reversal.
I don't know. My experience as a woman, it's hard to be with somebody younger because
My experience as a woman always preface.
well, no, let me tell you, women typically are more mature than men.
No shit. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Rose.
as a woman, like back before I met my husband, my current husband, I was going out to the clubs with my friends, and I would meet men, boys that were younger than me, sometimes 10 years younger than me. And they were, I felt it hard to not mother them. It was very hard not to mother them, rather than, I didn't see them as an equal, and I would see them as like
Children.
man-child, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
totally.
And it's really hard. But it also, you know what I mean? I
That's what
also
she said.
didn't probably what he said.
Oh,
If he's lucky, yeah.
But you know, I don't know. For me, the reason I've always gravitated toward the older man is because at least they're at my level maturity wise.
True.
If
Totally.
that makes sense.
I totally get that.
And I don't
But
know.
stamina
I,
counts for things.
yeah, I don't know.
You know? You don't have to talk. You don't have to talk, dude. Just pump.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But-
Go.
Sorry.
don't mind me.
We go off the fucking rails here. But
I know.
was it something that you felt like you were more nurturing towards him, or was it just pure primal attraction? What was
That's a good question.
the
I mean, yeah, the primal attraction was there, but it was a lot like of a nurturing thing. Like anytime he would get upset, I'd have to like calm him down and be like, look, you know, you don't want any more time, you don't want any more charges. It's basically me just trying to keep him out of trouble.
got it?
You were like the mother figure, basically,
Right.
kind of.
Well, he needed that.
We don't want to make you seem matronly, because you know what I mean. But with a 10-year age gap between a woman and a man, with you being older, it just, in my experience, I've been more matronly, or nurturing and mother. You put the mom voice on her, and you're like, I have to do it to my own husband. He's 11 years older than me, so
Dave, come here.
I'm like, listen.
Get that fucking finger out of my face. Get that fucking finger out of my face.
I don't point at him.
So let's get back to the tea.
Yeah, let's get back to
She's tired.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
don't want her yawning for this next part.
I got lots
What?
of questions. I apologize.
Yeah. So many.
Okay.
Some of them. We have a lot of comments, don't we? You put them up?
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We have
We're just
we just said
Oh.
welcome in, and that was just all.
Oh,
of it.
okay, got it. Because everybody's like this.
We're
So,
all-
okay, so the stairwell happened. There's kissing. There is groping, I would imagine, a little bit, right? How far did you take it with the "I love you" part, with that whole part? And then when did it get a little?
And
bit
how long
more?
did it take you to say I love you?
Yeah.
It took me until about the beginning of February
Okay.
to say it back to him.
Wore you down?
I will
time was
say
it- Had you gone to second base, or is that still first base?
She's dying to know. The tea is so hot. She wants to know the hot ass tea. I'm trying to prolong the
Well,
tea.
sorry to disappoint you, but it didn't go that far sexually. We didn't do any intercourse or anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there's-
No disappointment. I
I'm
mean,
not disappointed. I'm glad.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. A lot of people are glad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
of
thought.
course.
No, I
Yeah.
really thought that there was. more
Mm-mm.
sh- No.
But
No, because in
but
one
there's
of
so many
her,
things in
her
between.
things, there was an accusation that couldn't have been true because it didn't happen. Correct?
Mhm.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay. Keep going.
Correct. So,
pour that tea on me.
you know, we do that for a couple weeks, and then February is when it starts to like just hit the fan. Beginning of February comes, you know, he tells me he's gonna get a tattoo from one of his people that are in the pod, and I'm just like, no, you're not.
That's illegal.
Yeah,
You know?
like that matters.
Right, exactly. Can't do that.
I mean, jailhouse tattoos are definitely a thing.
They're definitely
They
illegal
are.
too. You know?
Yeah, they
There's
are.
gosh, that welcome in, gosh, Dad. Well,
Rose's mind was so gutturally assumptive. It's true, guys. Oh my God. It's just like one track mind. She's like, pour some hot tea on me. You know?
She talks about us popping her cherry.
Oh, we almost got through it with everything. Oh my God.
so by the way, Mama Bear, AC hates it. What we say every time he pops my
She's gonna hate
cherry.
it.
So
She's gonna hate it too. She's married to that guy. Like, why would she tell me that? It's always when he's around too. Fuck.
I know, right?
So there's a lot of things I don't know about. They like to pop.
We're
my
just
cherry all the
silly.
time.
Sorry.
Pop my. There you go. There we go. Sorry. Continue. Continue.
Continue. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
She-
Sorry, Mama Bear.
Cherry's popped.
Yeah, so he tells me he's gonna get this tattoo, and I'm just sitting there like, no, you're not. Like, I didn't believe him. I thought it was just all for like show. And I go in one day and he's like, "Hey, let's go get a tablet." And I'm like, "Okay." So we go into the stairwell and he points out his finger and he's like, "Look." And it was my first name with a heart at the end of it.
What the fuck?
Second red flag.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'm sitting here like, what if someone sees that? I'm the only one working in the facility with that name. Like, what are you doing? Well, they're not gonna see it. That's why it's on the inside of my finger and all this. And I'm just like, okay,
Other
whatever.
people are named Mama Bear, not just you.
And so he's sitting there and he's like, "Do you like it?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was flattered because
Of
it's the first
course.
time someone had ever put like my name on their body. And
Right.
so I'm just sitting there like, all right. And I think that's when everyone started getting suspicious a little bit because one of my sergeants looked at me and was like, "He just wants to talk to you every time you go in there. What's up with that?" And I'm just like,
And-
"Oh, he's just talking to me about different things that's going on in the pod." And about a week later, he says, "I'm getting another tattoo."
Oh, your last name.
A week later.
A week later. And
Wow.
I'm like, "All right, what is it?" And he's like, "I'm not going to tell you. I'll just show you when it's done." And then he gets it done and he's like, "Hey, let's go get a tablet." And I was like, "Okay." And we go on the stairwell and he pulls up his hand and my oldest daughter's name is tattooed on his hand.
Wow. Wow.
The craziest prisoner award goes to Jesus
What did you do
Christ.
at that time?
You knew you were like
I looked
not
at
dating
him
him
and
anymore.
I was like, "You never talked to her, you never seen a picture of her, nothing, and you've got her on your hand."
How did he know about did you tell him about your
Shut the yeah. I mean,
Of
earlier she
course
said
they
that
did. They had
Yeah, but I mean
conversations, right?
yeah, but I mean like I don't know, if they go down the stairwells, I'm pretty sure, they're busy, smooching before
grew open.
However,
Well,
they've written letters, they've done all the things. So you had mentioned in your TikTok that you thought it was weird, but you kept going after that. What made you keep going with this whole affair,
Right.
if you will? Affair is
um,
probably the wrong word, but situationship. Let's go with
um,
that.
I was just like, well, he wants to be a part of my kids too, not just me. Like he knows that it's all like a package deal, so most men aren't willing to take on that package deal.
I see.
They
It could be
just
like the
want,
craziest thing ever or like a really endearing thing. Also,
yeah.
it's got a really fine line.
But how do you take a package deal? You're I mean, no offense, but you're locked up. You know what I mean? Like you're
But
He's
not
getting out.
he was supposed to be up for parole in May.
If he's a lifer, that's weird.
Yeah,
That's weird, right?
he
I mean,
wasn't a lifer.
At this moment, they had, 4 months left or, 3 months left, depending on when this happened.
Right.
But, where he could be up for parole.
So there's hope.
Am I correct in that? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
wow. Okay, so then what do you do?
I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, you need to be careful because if they see that, you're going to get in trouble and then it could lead through this whole big mess and everything. And that's when they started getting more suspicious and started moving me up front. And we would still text on the texting app and everything. And he noticed that I'd start being moved up front a little bit. And he was like, "What's going on with that?" And I was like, "I don't know. They just want me to learn this more." And we go up there and I go in one day and he's just upset and I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Well, they're I'm having some issues because all he did was play cards while they were sitting in the pod or whatever, and he would like win some, lose a bunch, and everything. And he's like, "I think I'm going to be in trouble." And he wrote me a letter, and in the letter it was, "I hate to even ask you this, but I need to get some money.
Here we go.
Can you go to this address and go pick up this box of pens?" And it was just ink pens. We're gonna use them to tattoo. I'm gonna sell them for so many dollars a piece, and that's how I'm gonna stay safe. And at first I told him absolutely not. I was like, "I'm not doing this." And he was just like, "Well, I understand. I'm sorry I even asked you." And then it got brought up again, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't know why I decided to do it, honestly.
So ink pens are not something you can get in commissary?
Not the ones that they needed. The ones that they needed had springs in them that they could use for the
Like a
tattoo guns that
like
they
a
would
gun,
make.
right?
Got it. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Industrious as fuck, like super industrious.
Yeah.
What I've seen this happen in documentaries. It's amazing. It's amazing the things you come up with when you have all that time.
Right. So
It
so he
is.
has gambling debts is what it is.
Yes.
And what was the gamble? What do you gamble on?
Cards. What
Cards.
what card games? Was it
Yeah, that's what I meant.
poker? Was it
Spades,
spades?
spades and poker.
Spades.
Spades is the shit. Dude.
Spades.
Yeah,
I
I'll
love
rock you in
spades.
spades.
Me too.
Anybody.
Same.
Rock you. Okay, bring
Same.
it then, Sam. What the fuck?
Me next time we're in Vegas. Does Allie play spades?
I will. That's just for pink slips. Bring your car.
I can play a good mean two-handed spades too, though. That's...
Fuck you up at Uno too.
Any rate, we're
Mamabear.
we're off.
All right,
So
Mama
he
Bear.
has this gambling debt, and he asked you to get the pens. Now, where do you get the pens?
Out of a mailbox of one of his people and one of his friends in the pod. It was his friend's grandmother's mailbox.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So I told my fiance, I have to go in and work early for a meeting because we would have a lot of meetings because they were changing a lot of like admin stuff and everything. And so I went and I got these pens out of this mailbox. And the uniform I had, it was cargo pants, so it had a really big pocket.
Nice.
And when I got the pins out of the mailbox, I looked over the package, and it literally looked like someone had literally bought them out of a store and just put them into the mailbox. Like it looked like they hadn't been opened or anything like that. And so I put them in my cargo pocket. I go and they're like, "Hey, we need you to do one round in the back before you come back front." And so I was like, "Okay." So I would literally went in there for my round, and he looked at me and he was like, "Hey, do you have these pens?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got them." And he was like, "Okay." So I'd walk around the pod, and then you'd have a door to go into a little hallway that connects to another pod across from it, so you wouldn't have to like go out and around and everything. So I just threw them in a cell that was right by that door because the camera wasn't very good there. And so I just threw him in the cell real quick, and he went and picked him up, and then I went back up front and started working and everything. And they had me working either in Maine or booking a lot. And one night I was in Maine, and I got a phone call because at night you answer the phone calls in the facility because when admin's not there, that's where they send the phone calls to. And one of his family members called and was like, "Hey, we have something going on. You know, we believe this person's going to get jumped by multiple people either before lockdown or after lockdown's over in the morning." And so I told my supervisor, and my supervisor was like, "Well, if it happens, it happens." And I'm just like,
wow. So you like so they're callous as fuck. They see that they don't even see them as people, do they?
yeah. They don't.
Yeah.
Because that was the same staff sergeant that was like, "How's this one inmate?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's doing really good." And he was like, "That's good because, he body slammed him and broke his nose
Oh my God.
in the change-out room." And he was like, "Well, if it wasn't for me doing that, he wouldn't be the model inmate that he is now."
Oh wow.
So break them in like a cult.
Now,
Yeah, pretty much.
in that respect, is there any repercussions on the CO that did the body slam?
No,
No,
because it was off camera in the change-out room and booking.
he wouldn't do it if it was on camera, right? And he just waits. He waits. They're in prison too. Like it's also prison rules for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. It's crazy because they have to play break the rules just as much.
Right.
To do anything.
Right.
It's crazy. It's fascinating to me. Fascinating.
Pretty much.
It's like a zoo. It
It really is.
in a real sense because everything's behind bars. They're all looking at each other. There's different species, if you will, and they're like you're intermingling. Like imagine letting that zoo out and just like a whole Africa amount of fucking things hit. Like it would be pandemonium, which I would believe prison is basically hell on earth, right?
Pretty much.
Okay, so you get the pens, and the other CO is like, well, if it fucking happens, it happens. So what goes on from there?
So, nothing ended up happening. They started moving me up front to work in booking like every day. And one night I had to work a really long shift, and I couldn't get to my phone because we were busy and I couldn't have my phone with me in booking. So I had it in my car. And they were sitting there. He was texting me, thinking I'm ignoring him. So I go at 2 o'clock in the morning to go take a little break. And I see that he's blowing up the texting app, like, why are you ignoring me? Blah, blah, blah. Just like getting mad and like cussing me out. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm in this factory. They have me working overtime. That I can't have my phone on me. Like, just chill out. And I thought that I had calmed him down. I really did. So I go back out a couple hours later and I look at my phone and I have 3 text messages on my actual phone number that he has sent.
How the fuck did you get your number?
I gave it to him because
Okay.
okay.
Killing me, girl.
Once you get out of the Class D program, you're supposed to be shipped within a couple of weeks to a month to another facility.
Okay,
And
I got you.
that
So
was
he was
our
on the
way,
last
that was-
leg.
So you thought
Yeah,
he was
so-
going to need it to text you from them, because
I got
then
you.
it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Because he's
Yeah.
out of there.
I understand.
Okay,
My bad.
that makes
My bad.
sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I gave him the phone number.
Gotcha. You're not killing me, girl.
And so I read these messages and it's like, oh, your heart's not into it like I am. Like, yeah, I'm more serious about this than you are. My heart wants you and only you. And I text him on the texting app and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know what you did. You know what you did. You weren't supposed to do it. Like, why?
Damn.
And he was just like, well, I just thought you were ignoring me and everything. And I'm like, no, I wasn't ignoring you. And he was like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're trying to get me caught up. You need to stop. Well, February 23rd.
Were you caught up?
Were you in
February
love?
23rd. I go to my pre-shift meeting and my sergeant buddy looks at me and says, hey, your reputation's not so good around here. You need to fix that. I was like, okay, thanks. Thanks for the heads up. I'll work on that. And and then like not 30 seconds later, the captain comes out and was like, hey, I need you to come and talk to me. And I'm just like, great. Also, I have to go pee real quick.
Oh, you're fine.
You're fine.
Oh yeah.
Let's
Well,
talk a little bit. I
Um,
actually have all this in my notes where she's
Holy
going.
Shit. First of all,
I have so
holy
many notes.
shit. The tea is so hot.
I know. I'm like,
The tea is so hot. Again, I have a lot of questions and I apologize for interrupting and asking them, but I feel like they need to
It
be.
might be a 3-hour podcast. Like it's that good.
wow. I'm like, I'm at the edge of my seat. Like, I'm like, there's
I
so many
know.
things I want
Hey,
to ask
you're
and be like,
squirming.
Well, and I love how
I know. I'm like,
I
So-
love how upfront she is and how she's just like, I'm gonna just tell you guys, here's what happened. Yeah, I mean, it's brave of her to be like, I'm gonna tell it, and
Which
I've
makes us
made
ask bold questions.
Well,
you know what? It's
Yes.
brave of her to even tell the story.
yes, I know.
Just to come on and tell it how, raw it is.
I mean,
and
we've
how-
all done things that
Like what?
hindsight we're not proud of, or you know what I
No.
mean, and
Pop cherries.
or
No.
I mean,
everything I've ever done, I'm proud of.
and I'll be the first one to say I'm gonna tell you how it is and what happened, and admit my faults. But it is brave of anyone to just come on and be like, listen, this is exactly what happened, this is how it happened, and let me tell you all about it. And I think it's lovely that she's on. So
It's phenomenal. It's like
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air to be able to ask. That's why I'm being a little extra tonight. 'Cause it's
I
like-
know, me
By
too.
the way, everybody, she is on TikTok under Mamabear 022029.
Let's put it
Go
up.
ahead and follow her on
will.
TikTok. She is awesome. She's got amazing stories there. She
really
Yeah.
she
does.
goes live with the mom, right? of
Baby
the-
mama.
baby mama. So guys, go check her out. She's
Baby
awesome.
mama
Our girl-
of Hunter, of
Yeah.
said boy from jail. They're friends. So
Yeah. So they go on live on
Really?
TikTok. Yeah.
yeah.
I did not know
Guys,
that.
go check
Okay.
her out. She's awesome.
Oh shit.
And it's great. And
We should
you
be
know,
on
us.
we should be on that TikTok live, and because the tea is going to be so hot and so YouTube shorted, I'm going
I
to do
know.
Opus clips immediately after this.
I know this
I
Just
cannot
to let
wait.
everybody know too.
already. We have so many good.
I want to
things.
say I want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting us and have subscribed to our channel. We are, it's amazing where we're at. And we really haven't hit our 1 year mark. We're, you know, to be where we're at. I just want to say thank you to everybody. We are now at 525.
Amazing would be 3.5 million.
Yeah, Shad says definitely more excitement than the night AC broke into IHOP and ate all the pancakes.
I had so many pancakes, and what I liked was the toppings. Mama Bear, do you like pancakes?
I prefer waffles.
You are a waffle girl? I would have never.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
Unpopular opinion. I don't like either.
Oh, you shut the. Fuck.
I hate pancakes and syrup.
And waffles.
I can do waffles,
Kind
but
of a monster.
French
aren't you?
toast?
I love French toast. That's my fave.
Oh,
I
you're-
love
oh, okay.
waffles.
Mm.
I
French
love waffles.
toast with
She's fancy.
with powdered sugar on it
Of course. Why
Mm,
don't we just grow
okay.
some strawberries and fresh? You know,
because syrup is gross.
syrup is gross.
I do not like maple syrup. I like Karo syrup, which is corn syrup.
That's horrible.
Okay.
Did you know, Mama Bear? Well, before we go, Rose hates everything, every potato, every kind of
Yeah,
potato. But
Rose
French
does
fries.
not like potatoes.
Wait
Rose
a
does
minute.
not like anything.
She hates syrup. That's worse.
Pancakes.
That's
I'm
weird, and we're
sorry,
gonna address
hating
that. We're gonna
potatoes
address
is a
that.
lot worse
It's not
than
as-
hating syrup.
A potato, any kind, any
Yes,
kind. Who have you ever
potatoes
heard?
Or life.
Potatoes are literally like brought to
Life.
Ireland out of a famine.
Boil and mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yes,
Like vodka
exactly.
Go ahead, you know, give me a bottle of vodka potato. We're good. Tito's is great.
Yes. Ooh, potato vodka's great.
Yes.
No French fries? Who the fuck do you know doesn't like French fries? No one.
You're my
No one takes
favorite.
onion rings.
Gosh, Dad, don't answer, Gosh, Dad, because I know
Hello.
he's about to start talking down there.
I like both. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
All right, continue. Continue with the juicy story.
Yeah, we were
Hey.
just filling time.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, you're
Oh,
good.
you're good.
PP happens.
It's my monthly time.
You're good.
You are very candid with everything. I love that.
We love it.
You are
Sorry.
very forward. I know. I love it. You think I'm kidding? This is wonderful. We'd like to have you back on.
Yeah,
Anytime.
actually, we were just talking about how lovely and refreshing
Yeah.
it is for you to be so candid. And we've all had things in our life that, you know, maybe we're not so proud of or we've learned from. And it's wonderful that you're willing to share and put it out there. So thank you so much for sharing your story
For
with
real. For real. And you tell a great story. So
us. You do.
yeah, I want to share this again once I get my TikTok back up. But go ahead and
All
you
right.
can start with that.
Go
and
ahead.
I'll
So
do the rest.
they call you in.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you were called in by your captains.
I was called in by the captain, and it's the same two people that called me in for the investigation in November.
Mhm.
And they look at me and they're like, "We got a concerning phone call this morning on the subject of you and Hunter." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm shaking at this point. And they're just like, "Are you pregnant?"
You're
Dun,
like,
dun,
what the fuck?
dun.
I'm sitting here and I'm like,
Plot
"Why are you
thickens.
asking me this?" And I was like, "I'll pee on a stick right here, right now, in front of you.
Show me a
Like-
stick. Let me be on.
Like, you can go ask the nurse in medical. I took a pregnancy test a couple weeks back because I thought I was pregnant, and it turns out I wasn't." And so they just look at me and they're like, "Okay."
Lord have mercy.
And they pull up a picture. And it's a picture of me and Hunter walking together in the pod.
Oh boy.
What?
And they're like,
Merciless.
"Why are you walking so close? It
Oh my
looks like
God.
y'all are holding hands."
It's true. Let me share this for you.
And
Right.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, me being the smart ass that I am, I'm
Mhm.
like, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can clearly see all 4 of our hands.
Right.
And they're like, "Well, why are you walking so close?" And that was one of the times where he was telling me that he was in trouble and stuff. And I just told him, you know, he just talked to me about stuff in the pod, stuff that was going on. He didn't want anyone else to see that he was talking to me about this, when in all reality, he was asking me to bring in another box of pens.
Oh.
Oh,
I wasn't going to tell them that, though.
right, right. And okay,
AC, that has the sound on if you want to mute it.
it does. It doesn't have the sound for me. My apologies.
It's fine. I can hear sound. That's
No
all.
worries. Sorry.
There
Go
we
ahead.
You had
Go
to
ahead.
pause it at that moment, huh?
Let me help you out. Better? Another one? You say when. You say when.
When?
Perfect. Look at you thinking.
That's
I love it.
better.
Yeah, you are like,
Don't look so derpy there.
You look like,
Yeah.
yeah, you look like you're deep in thought in that one. Yes.
Yes, I
Good
do.
going, AC.
Thank you very much.
Cherry pop
So-
AC.
What?
Any rate, so they had the picture.
They have the
And-
picture and they're asking what we're talking about. And then they pull out a stack of papers that's big.
Jeez.
And they're like, these are all text messages that we got from his chirp device. And they circled the 3 that he sent to my actual phone number.
Oh,
And they're like, how did he get your
audacity.
number and
The
all this? And I'm like, I don't know how he got my number. Like, I'm playing dumb as much as I can. Like,
Right.
I don't know how he got that. I don't know what was going on with that. And they show me all these other text messages, and they're like, we think this is you on a burner number.
Oh.
The days off
shit.
coincide with your days off and, your schedule and everything.
Oh.
Y'all try to be smart about it, but you weren't smart. And so I'm
Damn.
just sitting there, and it all starts hitting me. I'm like, I am caught.
Well,
You
why
are-
didn't okay, so I am a not caught criminal from back in the day.
You mean a citizen?
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just deny? Prove it. Fucking prove it. Just prove it.
Because I had so many thoughts going in my head at that time. It was literally, oh crap. Because they were like, well, with the pregnancy claim, we might have to bring in detectives to investigate it.
But you were gonna.
So
you
again,
said
how
that
are they going to prove the burner?
I'll pee on a stick.
Yeah, pee on the stick.
Yeah.
You're not pregnant.
Right.
You know you're not.
Well,
I know.
why do you know you're not?
Because I literally took one 2 weeks ago before that, and it was negative.
Right.
And I was having a lot of issues. I was having some issues while I was working there, and I told them that. I was like, I've been having these issues, and so I took a pregnancy test, and it's negative. And I'm just sitting here, and they're asking me, well, what do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself? And I'm just like,
That I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
okay.
So
So I
hard
have a
at this
question.
point.
What if you were pregnant, right? But you didn't have any relation with him, so obviously it was from your fiance, that
Right.
you were
What
with.
if you were pregnant from a fiance?
What if you were
That's what I
pregnant?
yeah.
What would have happened then? I mean, would have they done I don't know. I mean, wait until the baby was born to
Paternity
do a
test.
yeah.
They probably would have, to be honest.
They
And
would've
I
fired
even
you?
told them, because there's these tests that you can get done at the doctor that'll tell you how many sexual partners you've had over the past like 6 months.
What?
And I was like,
Really?
I'll even do one of those, and it'll show that I've only had relations with my fiance.
I knew one of those.
Yeah, but like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm thinking, I already know I'm caught because they see that he's texted my actual phone number and stuff, and I'm crying to the point where snot's falling out of my nose. Like
Oh.
I'm just blubbering. And they're like, what do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself? And I just told them, I'm like, I was manipulated.
Right.
And they just kept asking me, and I was like, well, I resigned from my position. And they're like, oh, no, you're terminated.
You're like, I fucking said it first.
Nuh-uh.
That's what I would have said.
Nuh-uh.
I said it
Like,
first.
why couldn't you just let me resign instead of saying I was terminated? They're like, well, turn in your stuff. So I literally just stand up and take off my belt and just drop it to the floor. I don't even hand it to them. I just
Yeah.
drop it to the floor and I walk out and I leave.
Drop it to the floor. Touch toe.
Damn.
As people have asked for my videos, did they not search your car or anything before you left? No.
You can't do that.
Why would they?
Can't do that.
They have no evidence of you bringing in anything. There was no reason for them.
Probable cause or a warrant can get through your car. And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I call my fiance and I'm like, hey, you want to go back to work? Go back to your trade? Here's your chance. And he was like, well, what's going on? And I was like, I've been fired. And I was like, I'll see you in 15 minutes. I'll talk to you about it when I get there. And he was like, well, what's going on? And I'm like, well, they were just concerned because of all the sickness that we've had lately. Because, December, I had my sugar go up. My boys have been sick because they were in a child care facility. I had the flu, and then they sent me to the ER one day, and it comes out I had pneumonia. Like, they were just concerned with my attendance, and they couldn't ignore it.
Technically, they can't fire you over health.
Yeah, that's what I told my fiance.
Well, I know he probably didn't know.
If I may, just a moment here. I caught this. This is part 1, so I'm not giving away anything. Right here, the second comment says, my ex-husband is a CO and is currently incarcerated because he fell for an inmate and got caught.
Crazy.
Dang.
So, I'm sure did you find your comment section is full of their own stories?
Yeah, and actually I've had a lot of people message me telling me about the same situation that they were in compared to mine.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like,
you're
Wade
not
Wilson
a
has
one-off. Yeah.
Wade Wilson has 300 letters coming to him.
Yes,
for a
daily.
reason. And he's literally a guy who ran over a woman until she was spaghetti.
Yeah.
So really, there's some chicks out there that are down with that shit.
So when did you break the news to your fiance, or did he find out later? Did someone snitch on you? Was there a rat?
There's more things. Yes.
I mean,
more things.
All that.
I'm like going. Did he believe that story, first of all, the one you told him? Did he believe that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And let's be fair, from everything that I listened to, I didn't get through your whole story, so I don't know the end of it, but so I'll be surprised. But I got through a lot of it. He wasn't being very faithful either. So, I mean, it was in all a very toxic type of a situation.
Yeah, ain't nobody making him a saint
for all
sure.
intents and purposes. I mean,
this is a wash, right? This is a wash.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see that comment right there?
Yeah.
Can you read that comment, Sam?
It says, girl, you treated them red flags like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
they're not wrong.
Some of my comments I've laughed at.
What's the meanest one? What's the meanest one?
What's the one that sticks out in your mind the most?
Mostly the ones that tell me I don't deserve to have my children and that I deserve to be under the jail.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Just
under the jail
because,
for what?
No, hold on. Because none of this has anything to do with the way you parent.
Nothing.
None of this.
Nothing.
And they should they can fuck the fuck off. And we cuss on this fucking channel, and I cuss the most. I apologize if I offend you. I do. However, they can fuck the fuck off because none of this right the fuck off because none of this has anything to do with your ability to be a parent. And
you were being a parent, you were supporting them, and you were giving them
fuck
a
anybody
roof over
who
their
says anything different because I can tell you love your kids. I can tell you you're a good mom just by us having this conversation. There's whatever happened,
just
but
by
it
her
doesn't
getting
affect
that job.
Right.
By,
none of this says anything to do about your ability to parent, and they can fuck off.
You provided a roof over their heads, gave them food. You did it. So you know what? They can go.
She got into a profession that was mainly men because it was a higher paying profession just so she can do better for her kids. That's highly commendable. That has nothing to do with it.
Not only that, she was able to do this job for her husband or her fiance, the father of her kids, to stay home to take care of these kids.
Which I would wish that someone would do that for me.
And daycare is fucking expensive. So to have somebody say, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's for somebody to say that is fucking stupid.
I'm just saying, if anybody out there wants to make me a stay-at-home dad,
of your dogs,
because I don't. This working shit's like for the birds, dude.
I feel you. All the things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of comments that I put through from my filtered comments just
Mhm.
because I wanted to be that transparent content creator
I'm listening
and
and I'm
show that I
judging.
don't delete comments and that I don't,
Right.
Oh,
No, but you
eh,
know what? Know that you did a good job as a mom.
yeah,
Just the fact that you let the father of your kids stay home to take it. That's right
I
there.
think I like that Rose likes
Who would
that.
want?
I
I
like that
love it.
Rose
You know
likes that.
why? The
And
reason why I love that.
everybody else gets to work. My husband, stay home.
Well, no.
You know what?
How many dads out there go, I'll watch our kids as if they're the fucking nanny.
Did you marry? I don't have enough lotion. I have to it comes with an endowment of like
You mean the
1,000
baby
bottles of
oil?
oil. Yeah.
Well, no,
Almond lotion.
I'm pretty sure that was that was not baby oil. I think it was drugs. And
It's not
It
GHB.
was.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
I'd rather have the GHB. You know.
Yeah, At any rate, it's a lot of even dads that are, say they're in it are like, oh, I'll watch the kids while you go do this. Well, no, you're their fucking dad. You're not just watching them. You're not their babysitter. You're their fucking parent. So, I mean,
the fact that you did that, because
Yeah.
I mean, who would want? A lot of parents would want that versus a nanny or put them in a daycare with 10 other kids. You know what I mean? Like,
What nanny? What does she look like?
also the comment, please get to the point. We're impatient.
I love it.
that-
I'm dead. I'm highlighting the dead.
that was not me.
No. But that is, we were talking prior to getting on to our live, folks, back in the green room before we got on how good Mama Bear is at, I think we probably said that on here, at the beginning, how you're so good at, leaving that cliffhanger of leaving us wanting more. That's how you get people to watch the next fucking video.
No shit. They're just verbalizing
It's marketing. Don't be
telling
pussy
you.
about it. That's
They didn't
marketing.
release Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
And Mama
maybe-
Bear was good at the whole thing because I'm sitting at that. I'm like,
So good.
okay, to the point where I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her and I'm going to see if she'll come on our podcast. And here we are.
appreciate it so much,
Speaking
right?
of which, are we? How much do we have? Do we need to do a different like a part 2?
I mean, how much time do you have, Mama?
I could do a part 2.
Okay.
You want to do a part 2? Can we do part 2 next
You
Friday?
want to put a pin in it for now and then maybe pick it up? Okay.
We just talked about that. We just talked about how horrible it is to wait. And we were like, want to do a part 2, and it was like, "Yup, see you later." Cliffhanger.
No,
Fucked up.
this is such.
'Cause I know it's
been
late
so
for Mama
fun.
Bear.
Yes,
We
I
just
know
did
it's
it.
late for Mama
Well,
Bear,
she's
and I know.
she's an hour ahead
Marketing.
of. One would think. I don't know where.
Oh,
One would think. I don't know.
she could be
We
in
don't
Sydney,
know where
Australia.
you're at, but I think you're an hour ahead of me. So if you're an hour ahead of me, it's late.
It's midnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are an hour ahead of me.
Location disclosed.
No, we don't know. I mean,
Oh, hey, babies. What's going on? Oh, I got
Yeah,
the chunky baby.
That's my
It's
3-year-old, and
aw.
it is okay. So I just want to say that my 3-year-old right there, it is a very weird coincidence that he looks like Hunter.
Oh my goodness.
Look at them damn
Oh,
rolls.
look at
But
him.
he look like a cinnamon roll.
Those little thighs.
So, Mama
All
Bear,
right.
is it safe to say that we can
Excuse
do
me.
next Friday?
Yep, we need
Yeah.
more
To
tea.
come back for part 2.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Awesome. So, everybody who's listening,
That's the video that started it all.
This is the one.
Oh.
So everybody, let's put this up real quick. So before we go,
you
we can
guys
chop this up.
check out Mama
Short-
Bear on TikTok. Go
Yeah.
check her
Yes.
out and
Check her
go see
out.
her live.
Amaze.
right there.
Send her some gifts, some whatever they do on TikTok.
Yes.
Go send it to her. She's awesome, and I love all her stories. I love watching her lives. I get to watch them real quick. If it's, as I'm driving or something, I'll watch her lives, or as I'm coming home, I watch her lives, and they're funny. They're really funny. She's
One of my
on
favorite
there.
things is lives.
So yeah,
One of my favorite
Did
6
you
o'clock live.
catch any of the New Year's Eve one that I did?
No, you know what? I didn't catch New Year's Eve. I had a lot going on, but I saw,
That
like I
was
said, I saw with her, and I was like, oh, so I watched a little bit clips here and there, and I was going in and out. So you probably saw the Roses Are Red podcast going in and out of it. I had to
Are you
stop
okay,
answering.
ma'am?
Yeah. Why is this lady going in and out of here?
So,
But
Yeah, the New Year's Eve live was really fun. It went a whole different direction than I expected it to go.
and you know what? If you want to invite baby mama on, you're more than welcome to.
we can do this, and we can do lives. We can all do lives, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
I
not.
don't know if
So-
I
I'll talk
can.
to her and see how she's feeling. Like I said, she just lost her brother on Monday.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
So
right.
she's
That's right.
really
Anytime, yeah.
messed up
In the
over
future.
that.
We get that.
In the
Our
future, and
condolences.
tell our condolences to her and her family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
well.
so thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Stay tuned for part 2 next Friday, because we are going to leave it here at this cliffhanger where
The tea is going to be simmering.
Boom.
The
You
tea will
just
be
got let
simmering
go.
like a rolling simmer for like a week. And then
Yeah.
I
we'll be
have to
back.
say, Mama Bear, I'm so happy you've been on. I'm so excited for you to be on next week. I feel privileged to have gotten to know you through this. And again, I just can't wait for next week. So
Yeah.
I know
I
we're
don't
like,
think anybody can. I don't think anybody can. The important thing is to stay this hard
yeah.
and this wet till next week. Stay tuned.
Okay.
I wasn't
Thank you,
talking
Mama
to you
Bear.
especially. I was talking to the internet. But yeah, okay. Please do that.
Yes.
Everyone,
All the things.
everyone out there.
Yeah, Shad, real quick says bring the waffles, pancakes, syrup, and fries.
And
Yeah.
fucking and GHB.
Yeah, all the things.
You got it.
We got to bring all the things.
All right, we got to go to bed, Mama Bear. God damn it.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mama Bear, and I'll send you the
Okay.
link on Friday.
Okay.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much, folks.
What?
Best guest we've ever had.
I know.
Like, really-
So great.
cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Good night. Holy shit.
Good
I needed
night.
that. I needed that one.
Good night.
We're back.